Okay, Yuan has finished his strap. The overall effect is okay. Just need to sew at this side, finally. We see the strap has been padded with supportive material. There's another one, make a band paste, also a buckle installation. These are very common foundations. So in this beginner course, I will provide detailed explanations, maybe a little bit verbose. I hope you can be patient, because the bag making lessons will become more and more complicated. But there are not as many details as there are now. Maybe a complicated bag will be just an hour or so. They will not repeat the skills that we show here. There are so many basic crafts to talk about. It may be skipped cause we have already talked here, because the basic skills is nothing more than a change in shape. Same skills. Because the purpose of our study is to learn to make all bags. It's not just a specific one. Okay, here are the pattern of the supportive material beneath strap. There is also a pre-enlarged surface leather. Then pre-enlarged leather doesn't need pattern. You can cut an enlarged leather in any shape. It's no problem if the pre-size is longer or shorter. Here's one thing to notice. When we do the stitching in previous video, the overall leather edge thickness should not be lower than 2.5 mm. Also don't exceed 3.0 mm. If it is too thin, the stitches will not look good. Also, it has not enough strength. If it is too thick, it will affect the appearance, and then it will also affect the final result. So the thickness runs through the entire effect of the handmade leather goods. You must pay attention to the thickness. After this adjustment, the bottom leather is 1.2 mm thick, plus 0. for bonded leather. The total thickness is 1.6, then the surface leather is 0.8. In this case, its total thickness is controlled at about 0.4. It's an ideal stage. Then why did this raised effect by choosing bonded leather instead of web-tax? Because we need to bend and paste the strap. There is another one. It's malleability. The tensile resistance of bonded leather is enough. At least it's enough for this little strap. So this production is very easy to understand now, really. After pasting it enlarged bottom leather and surface leather, then correct it with a pattern. It must be corrected in place. After the correction, open this hole. We don't need to punch hole now, because if you punch it now, it's not easy to pass later. After brushing glue on the surface and bottom leather, let it go first, let it dry, and in the process, talk about the concept of bent paste. This is the pattern for supportive material. We cut the same size material. Pay attention that during the bent paste, if we keep one end still, there must be a length difference at the other end. This is why the pattern shows that the length is 65 mm. But when we actually cut, we need to cut a 68 mm length. It means we need to release a curve length. And then what about this volume? It is directly related to the accuracy of the pattern and the final effect of the finished product. So you must pay attention when cutting. It doesn't mean that the patterns are inaccurate. It means that we must know an extra length that it needs. There is another one. Different thickness needs different extra length volume. For example, this material is 1.2 mm. Then rotate it 90 degrees like this. The difference will be close to 3 mm, 2.8 mm. If the thickness of this material is 3.0 mm, then if you bend like this, the approximate extra length is close to 8 mm. So the thickness affects the extra length release. Therefore, when people ask why the pattern are inaccurate, the probability is not a problem with the bag pattern. It's a problem that these people didn't follow the thickness instructions. It leads to the difference between the final spacing 2 or 3 mm. Then wait for the glue to dry. We paste it, center when pasting, and then use the sideline gauge to center here. Draw a line, make a counterpoint reference to help us fit accurately. Then, bend paste. When pasting, take off the pattern first. Paste the flat surface first. After sticking to the curved position, curve it naturally and paste like this. There's no need to bend that far, although it is an actual situation when we use it. But normally, it's enough to bend it 90 degrees, because if you bend that far, it's hard to open. Because of the excipient and leather-heavy elastic stress, they will bounce back if it's too much stress. So 90 degrees is enough. It's also easy to close up. When opening, the expansion range is also very large. It's big enough, that's it. After fitting the accessories, then we open the hole again. We're using hidden side buckle this time. There are two kinds of 4-in-1 snap buckle. I will introduce them later. Okay, after we punch this hole, now let's talk about the 4-in-1 snap buckle. 4-in-1 buckle, easy to understand. It's made up of 4 components, then finally synthesize a male and a female. That way it can buckle. Its corresponding punching tool should also have 4 parts. They are like this. Here are 2 more concepts. Firstly, the 4-in-1 snap buckle has surface and conceal type. That's what it is if it is concealed. After installation, the surface cannot see the buckle. This is the first type, but the installation of this one is failed. I'll explain why later. There's another type. It's the outside of it that doesn't change. It's a little bump, but this spring buckle side has a buckle surface. This buckle is on the surface. Then it was installed like this. It's concealed. Then there is no difference in use and installation methods. It's just a difference in the appearance. What about the second concept? The buckle surface of the 4-in-1 buckle includes models like number 633. Also has 655, 831, to 01, to 04, etc. The main difference is in the diameter of this buckle surface. Usually, the one I use the most is the 655 because its size of buckle surface is just enough. If you need to use it in strong parts, that requires 831 or even some more special 4-in-1 buckles, like the Garden's Party I've heard. The 4-in-1 snap buckle doesn't belong to any regular specification. Larger buckle surface needs a separate special punching tool to finish the installation. Otherwise, there is no way to install the 4-in-1 buckle. Then when installing, no matter its male terminal or the female terminal, they have legs. This is the length we call the leg length. It's directly affected by the leather thickness. If your leg are too short, it can't rivet at all. If the leg are too long, it'll be swaying when it riveted out, not very strong. So this leg length is also an important data that is easily overlooked during installation. Like this buckle strap, I choose to install the female buckle. That's the side of the spring buckle. Then plug it directly. Select the corresponding punching tool. Just center it. This punching tool is used on a press. Of course, you can also hit it by hand, and you just put it on the table. Then make sure the leg is vertical. Then use a hammer. Just tap it like this. Why did I fail to tap here? Because I'm using too little force. I'd better hammer it on the marble. After hammering like this, it's installed. You can turn it around after installation. Let the logo of this letter have a unified direction. Then check if it is okay. If it's not okay, it can be cut now. The 4-in-1 buckle must be installed first, and then paste the surface leather. We see that Yuan didn't do it well is because she pasted the leather first and hammered it finally. She forgot to hammer it first, so this place is pressed out with a very heavy and obvious mark. This is not good looking. After the female buckle is installed, we can paste the enlarged surface leather on it. When pasting, start with the flat part. When pasting this bent area, paste curvely, that's it. If there is such a bending tool, you can also operate it directly. After fitting, with the help of a shaping stick, we sculpt the drumming effect. Remember to press it first when shaping. Don't push directly. That's likely to push a fold out of the leather at the end. Push out the fold. After it's all fitted like this, let's work a line as a whole. Make this edge a little clearer. If it doesn't fit well, you can use this edge to press it. The final result is something like this, although there's still a little bulge at the top, but it doesn't seem so obtrusive. After pasting, we will use a leather knife to trim the back again. I don't recommend using a utility knife at this time, because it has a height difference, and most of them are straight lines, so it's better to use a leather knife. No need to cut, just crush it directly. Then after correction, you get such a state. The next step is to punch, then cut it here. It is not recommended to press on the pattern directly. First of all, it has a height difference. Second, it's a curved paste. So when you punch here, I suggest you dig up this part. hollow out because this place has a conceal button. It has a bump. It is more suitable to put it like this. Then when you punch, there's no need to start from beginning to end. At this time, you can use an Alt to locate the key punching position. We will punch the rest directly. Mark a couple of key positions. We will punch and string them together later. That's it. Then all that's left is the oil edge and stitches. We won't demonstrate the process. Then the male buckle of the 4-in-1 buckle is installed in the same way. Fix it with this head. Then just put it on and hammer it. That's it. Just hammer it. Well, normally, like this concealed 4-in-1 buckle, the reinforcement and surface leather should be installed first, and then finally fit the bottom leather. It's not good looking when you leak it out like this. This is the first installation method. Then what about the second installation method? After we install it like this, cut around leather separately. Make a patch and stick it on. This is the second way. Well, this is relatively simple to handle. This is on. Basically, it's finished. This is the line on the back. This small item is relatively simple. These are all for you and to practice. We can see some problems from her work. It doesn't matter during the process of making these 10 covers. Firstly, we went through the complete production process of making a small leather goods. Secondly, we have a basic understanding of basic skills. Thirdly, we see every step is not difficult. It's all very simple. A small pendant like this, I can do raised leather effect. This is mainly for practice. I can also skip raised leather effect. If it's vegetable tanned, it's much easier. Just need few stitches. Then a total of 3 leather are over. No need to paste. No need to do raised effect. You don't need to do all kinds of things. But since you pay for our course, it is still very recommended that do a solid practice at every step, instead of just watching, or even have no patience to watch each lesson. If you really want to learn the craft, but don't have the patience for practicing a certain skill a day. How to continue? Many people are in a hurry. Make the difficult design directly as a beginner. They don't pay attention to the basics. If you watch every class carefully, watch it repeatedly and practice it repeatedly if you don't understand, then congratulations, you already have a very good craftsman mentality. Some members reflected that I spoke fast and did not speak English. It's hard for them to watch. So in the next course, Shirley will assist me in expressing it in an English language. I hope you can watch and practice more smoothly. See you next lesson, bye bye.